Welcome to the Auburn Medical Group YouTube live stream, the entertaining medical live stream where viewers can ask real-time questions of real medical doctors. And here are our hosts, Dr. Mark Vaughn and Dr. Gawain Vaughn.
Yes, here we go. Well, not we. Dr. Mark Vaughn is here. I can put up the titles, but Dr. Gawain is on vacation. How dare he? Please send all of your hate mail and comments to Dr. Gawain so that he knows he's supposed to be in the seat of honor here, helping me to carry the show rather than doing it by myself. But we do wish Dr. Gawain the best with his family as they get some well-deserved time to family time. We do appreciate that they need that. And I'm glad to be able to talk to you about, well, I should show you the picture. Let's see if I can bring it. There we go. Who's that handsome guy getting a sunburn? That's the picture that we came up with. So I know there's going to be a lot on the chat as we talk about sunscreen. And the reason it came up is because I've been seeing a little smattering here and there of things on Facebook. And of course, there's those people that just put up stuff on Facebook that doesn't have scientific validity and is just passed from Facebook person to Facebook person without anybody caring at all whether it's got any accuracy to it whatsoever. So I thought I'd look at what's the hubbub about sunscreen right now. So we'll be getting to that pretty soon. But first, let's get caught up on your questions and comments in the chat. I guess I have to actually select specific ones before we do that. So I have to back up a little bit here because it's been going on. The chat's been going. Before we started streaming, the chat was already there. In case you didn't know that, that's the case. So a lot of stuff between Hilda Bauer, who seems to like the picture, and Lindsay Antwine, who prefers the real thing. And then, let's see, get through all the pre-show stuff. Oh, Jose Juan Lara Morales says, wow, I believe that's referring to the picture that we had up of. So I guess I should explain. This is what happens when you give AI your picture and ask it to make it you on the beach with a sunburn. So that's what it came up with. Apparently, Jose really likes it there. So we'll get back to the show here. And yeah, Jose says that's a incredibly attractive 100 out of 10, I guess. That reminds me, we just had a patient tell us that they thought that our PA Ryan, I don't know if you've met him yet. Yeah, he was on a show once. They said he was 1 in 500,000. So we had a lunch meeting with our staff today. We brought up that this comment was made that you're a 1 in 500,000. Jabbing him for what's wrong that you're not 1 in a million. Where did you go wrong and how can we fix this? But 1 in 500,000. So we thought that was pretty good. We appreciate him getting the 1 in 500,000 ranking as a provider here. So let's see if we have any other comments before we jump into the topic of sunscreen. So the reason sunscreen is a topic is because the United States has this interesting way of dealing with sunscreens that is different from Europe and Australia, where they have this one called Bemotrizinol, I believe is the way you pronounce it. It's an ingredient, actually, that would be in a sunscreen. It's not the name of the sunscreen. There's several sunscreens that have this ingredient in them. And it seems to be pretty good stuff. It's been around for 20 years in these other countries being used, but in the United States, it hasn't gone through all the hoops the FDA requires for an over-the-counter medication, which is what it would be classified. I guess all sunscreens are. Something that's actually tested to see if it actually does what it claims and is safe. That's the FDA's job for things like that. And what they have not done, or it looks like the hoop that it needs to jump through, is animal testing. Well, things that are out there now in the United States went through animal testing when that was something that was done. We live in a different age now. Animal testing is much reduced from what it used to be. So that's kind of a big hoop to jump through, plus the testing and the safety measures for looking at it, the surveillance, I guess I should say. But we have 20 years of data of it used in humans in Europe and Australia. So many are of the opinion that this should be given approval for use as an over-the-counter medicine like other sunscreens. Here's why they say it's so great. It's much more stable in the light. When ultraviolet light is hitting things, it breaks things down like sunscreen. That's why you have SPF ratings. So it's supposed to be very, very stable with a very high SPF. Not only does it block UVB, which is the more cancer-causing wavelengths of light, but also UVA, which is the aging, wrinkling, reddening wavelength of light. So let's go back to your comments and questions here. It looks like we've got Hilda Bauer coming back in with, use sunscreen faithfully, then got basal cell carcinoma, type of skin cancer, on my face from tanning beds. Oh, no. So my understanding is that tanning beds are trying to give you the less cancer-causing wavelengths, avoiding the UVB. I don't know that they actually do. I think some of them claim that. And we do know that the UVA is still not that great, depending on what you want to look like. I mean, look at this guy. Look at his. You don't want your skin to look like that. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Let's get back to the show here. So we're going to, Hilda, I am sorry about the basal cell. So I should talk a little bit about skin cancer since that's come up. The skin cancer we really are concerned about, really looking out for. Can kill people. Well, it's not the only one that can kill people, but the one that typically will be, if a skin cancer kills someone, typically it will be malignant melanoma. This is the one that comes from the melanin-producing cells, the black pigment that is in skin. And so typically they're going to be black or mixtures of colors. Sometimes you can have blues and reds in them. Sometimes you can even have a white patch in the middle, which can be very concerning, if it's outgrown its blood supply and the pigmented cells died. So those are the very bad. They can spread, they can go to the brain and other places and kill people, and they do. Then there's things like basal cell and squamous cell. Well, squamous cell, because it's found fairly often in other parts of the body, even the lung, but even other parts, it is bad also. It's also one typically if somebody's going to get like a cancer in the mouth from exposure to chewing tobacco or smoking. It's typically going to be a squamous cell carcinoma, but that can also occur on the outside. So basal cell is, of all of them, kind of the least concerning. Not that a person can't die from basal cell, but typically it's not going to spread to another part of the body. It's just going to invade locally. So if that's happening somewhere on your body, it's going to be somewhere where you've been sun exposed typically. And if you have something growing and eating away a part of your body that's sun exposed, what you see of me, my skin right now, that's what's sun exposed because everything else is clothed. That varies according to person. After all, there are people out there that expose more of their skin than just these. So those areas, you're going to see it. So really bad basal cell carcinoma, I only see it in people who have waited and had this growth just eating away at their face for, sometimes years. If you look in the textbooks or some of the worst case studies, it's people who just let it go. It's quite amazing what people will put up with. Okay, and then we have a comment from Lindsay Antoine. Welcome to the show, Lindsay. You know what works? Stay inside. Avoid the sun. She's right. I can't argue with it. And it is what dermatologists will say. Avoid the sun. They say if you are going to be in the sun, still avoid it. Like here's the hat that I wear right here. Look at that. Wide brim. See, if I wear it in the studio, the light is blocked on the upper part of my face, even though we're trying to get lights where they're supposed to be here. So that's one way. Sunscreen's another way. Clothing is another. And not all clothing blocks UV light. They sell special stuff for those of us with low self-esteem to wear when we're out in the sun so that the sun doesn't get through and hit the skin. you might see, people in the pool or whatever. And yes, that's probably what I should be doing. I'll usually wear some kind of a shirt, maybe not the long sleeve ones that are truly UV blocking, like I should be if I'm trying to protect my skin when I'm in the sun. So yes, thank you, Lindsay, for that. Okay, back to, basal cell carcinoma typically spreads locally. Squamous cell carcinoma, same thing. You can see it spreading, a little worse for spreading to other parts of the body than a basal cell. Again, I don't really see that. Most often it's growing locally and causing a problem, so you can get it if it's on the skin. Different story if it's in the lung or respiratory tract or digestive tract, and it can grow in all those lining mucosal surfaces like that, just like it can on the skin. And Hilda Bauer, here we go. She says, catch it early. Mohs surgery moved it 20 years ago. Early detection, the key. Absolutely. She's referring Mohs surgery. I should tell you about that. Mohs surgery is a procedure where, in addition to taking off the lesion, they do a little bit more than that. So in areas that don't have a lot of skin to spare, or it would be scarring if you did a big procedure like on the face, you want to get just the lesion itself and nothing more, ideally. But at the same time, when cancers are removed, we have these standards for margins of clearance, so many centimeters or millimeters away from the primary lesion to feel like you had a good chance of getting it and not having parts of it that extend out. So Mohs surgery is where they do a number of removals of just the smallest amount and check it, and then do a little bit more. We actually have a video, or a series of 3 videos of Dr. Trauner doing a Mohs procedure and going to the microscope, or going to lab, preparing the specimen, and then looking at it under a microscope. I think he was doing frozen sections to see if all the cancer is moved as each section comes out. It's an interesting video, and it shows what Mohs surgery actually is. So that'll be done for cancers, skin cancers on the face quite often. Sometimes other parts of the body where you don't have a whole lot of skin to spare. So you want to take as little as possible, but you still want to make sure you get that cancer out of there. So that's what Hilda's referring to when she says Mohs surgery. So any other questions or comments about skin cancer or Bemotrizinol, please go ahead and put them into the chat. I'll gladly address them. But I also wanted to revisit How Are We Going to Say Goodbye, my song that I released 2 weeks ago, roughly, or a little bit over 2 weeks ago, on Spotify. So those of you who are super fans of what we put out here, hear me out here. We will benefit, or I will benefit. Yeah, I'll benefit. Yeah, it's kind of selfish what I'm doing here. From having playlists made with How Are We Going to Say Goodbye on whatever streaming service you use. I know that Spotify does playlists that you can make. I don't know about the other ones. But please, if you want to do something to help get How Are We Going to Say Goodbye out to other people who may enjoy that song, please make a playlist, certainly on Spotify, if you're on Spotify, that puts it and other songs that it reminds you of together, and put that out there. Even if you don't think anybody would, visit a playlist that you made, do it anyway, because the algorithm, the ever-present algorithm that runs our world, will identify what kind of music it goes with and kind of suggest it to other people, so people can discover who would really enjoy that song, who otherwise will never find it if we're not making the playlists of similar music. So if you like it and you want to do something that helps get it out there to other people, please make that your thing to do. Now, for people like Lindsay who don't use Spotify, I suppose you could go on Spotify and with the free access to it, not a paid account, put something. And even if you don't want to pay any money for Spotify and you don't mind making an account on it, you can make a free account. It's just they'll give you commercials. And also, I believe you can make a playlist with the free account. I'm pretty sure you can. And then Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, all of those. If you're able to, please somehow suggest it or link it to people you think would enjoy it, or make a playlist if you can. So enough of my commercial. Thank you for putting up with it. Those of you that will do that, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And then until next time, when we have Dr. Gwaine back, and of course, Lindsay Antwine, who is a very big part of this because of what she contributes on Patreon, we'll have more topics for you. So till then, Dr. Mark Vaughn telling all of you to stay in good